Ok, vamos a empezar. Vamos a hacerlo en español. Anyone wants this in English? Someone? Have some? Okay. Let's do it in English.
You are not allowed to be here. Sorry for that.
Yeah. Yeah, thank you for coming today. We are going to talk about innovation is not only for startups. First of all, I would like to introduce our speakers. So please, Manu.
Hello, my name is Manuel. I'm currently the Chief Innovation Officer at Ribera Salud. Ribera Salud is a healthcare company in Spain. So we are providing integrated health here in Spain and also in UK and some other countries in Central Europe. Well, we are partnering with Lanzadera, working with startups and trying to find and to solve some of our pains with the Innovation Hub.
Thank you, Manu. Nichan?
Hi, everybody. I'm Nichan Bacalian. I'm from Mercadona. Mercadona is the retail leader here in Spain. We actually are 1,600 stores and 12 warehouses. And we started expansion to Portugal, and at the end of this year will be 10 stores.
Sorry, please.
Hello, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Xavi Perez. I'm the head of marketing and communication here at Nestle Purina, Spain. Okay, so Nestle is a big food and beverage manufacturer, and Purina is their pet care division. And very happy to be here with you, and thank you for coming at 3 p.m. to this.
It's not the best time. Victor?
Okay, hello, good afternoon. Thank you for inviting us at this roundtable, and it's a pleasure for us to be here. I'm from FAXA. FAXA is an integral water cycle company from Spain, and we manage all cycle of the water. I'm the head of acquisitions and new businesses department, and we are have with Lanzadera a corporate program this year, and we are talking about of this topic now.
Thank you, everyone. I would like to start with Xavi. I would like to know what Purina is looking for in a relationship with a startup.
Well, let me first start saying that our relation with startup isn't something which is not new. In fact, we have been already working at different levels, at European level, even in the US, always trying to find out what is happening out there. Okay, so what the relation to the question, what we're looking for in a startup, you may think that, okay, a big corporation, what may look is agility, no? We write things in a startup, we think on agility, no? So they have the right talent, the right ecosystem, they can do things faster, which is true, and it's something we really look into when challenges start, when we're working with them. But there's a second thing that probably is a bit more subtle, but I think it's also very important for us, is regarding not only to see how they work, but how they think. So, I always say to my team that Nestle is what it is, because 150 years ago, there was an entrepreneur that decided to put in a startup, okay? So at the end, we wanted to infuse that mindset and mentality in the teams today, and working with the startups allow us to provoke this change of mindset, to disrupt thinking, to put ourselves in a very difficult situations as well. And this is particularly something I'm very happy with when working with the startups, that trying to look in other companies, in this case in the startup, how they think and how they behave, and how can we translate that into our company. So this so-called intrapreneurship mindset.
Thank you. How it works in Ribera Salud, Manu?
That's a good question. So I think that what we are looking, so we still do not know exactly what we are looking in a startup, because I think if we knew that, we would probably have done that internally. So the thing is that when we open the company to looking for new things, and especially in the innovation area, we look for agility, for new ideas, we look for solving some kind of our pains, we look also for trying to find talent to introduce the right processes or different processes and different mindsets in the company. So it's a combination of things that it is very complicated for me to just answer saying this is like a checklist of things that we are looking in.
We don't have such a list.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
And what about you, Nichan? Mercadona has 1,600 stores. You are 90,000 people working in the company?
Yes.
What are you looking?
As Xavi says, this is the first time we start working with startups. But if we talk about innovation, in the last year we have internal team dedicated to innovation, both in business and technology. But everything is changing. There is a digital revolution. The needs of customers are changing, new needs. So we think it's important to start working with startups, to bring fresh ideas, to bring new ideas, new people. And this is my colleague. It's important to gain in agility, less bureaucracy, less hierarchy, and gain in agility. That's the main purpose.
Okay, let's move to the other side of the table. And you, Victor, based on your experience, what does a startup must have in order to be aligned with the corporate?
Yeah, in my opinion, the main thing is that the startup covers a necessity of the corporate and makes that the corporate think about the startup as a strategic partner. For me, this is very important, and the startup have to understand how the corporate thinks and how to adapt its language to the language of corporate, but without slowing down its processes or losing agility. It's my opinion.
Okay. What about you, Nitsan? What's your point of view in this field?
It's basic. We have a win-win relationship between corporate and the startup. We can give them the chance to taste with real clients, and for us, we can, as I said before, to prove agility and other types of working. The other thing the startup must know is how corporate works. And we have to achieve a balance between the type of working of the corporate and the startup. And finally, the startup also have to prove the agility to implement this solution in a corporate like us, in a store, in a warehouse, or all over the supply chain. There are the three main things I guess the startup must prove to work with us.
Okay. So you have already some experience in this field. Which type of collaboration have you developed with the startup that you have worked with?
Well, I mean, I think that the collaboration with a startup goes like in a product. This is different cycles, no? So you may start first with just mentoring them or coaching them, but in fact, we are working now with Lanzadera, and we are coaching, mentoring to a startup to help them grow and give them advice to do so. But then after that, of course, it depends of many things. It depends how synergies can have between the corporate and the startup. We may start working as a supplier, but why not just end up by getting a stake on the startup or even being business partners? For instance, we have an example that on Wamis. Wamis is the biggest pet content website in France, and we used to work with them as a supplier, so we were just, putting our advertisement on that website. But there was some point that we realized that if we had a closer relationship and they become a business partner, we can both get synergies from those sides. So Nestle decided to take a stake on that, and so I mean, there's no a close way of partnering with a startup. We are quite open, and we leave. I mean, I think what is important is to leave the startup to grow. Okay, to leave them a space. Try to humbly give them some advice of where to go, where not to go, but the ultimate goal is that at least in our case, what we want is them to succeed at the end. Mm-hmm. Even sometimes, and we have internal discussions, we are mentoring and coaching a startup that in the future they might become our own competitors, but this is the way we approach it, because at the end it's also a way to disrupt ourselves and to be better. So it depends, as I said.
Also, we are working together with 2 startups in the Lanzadera corporate program.
Yes.
Can you explain a little bit how it works?
Yeah, so we're working with 2 quite completely different startups. One of them is called Kibus. It's a quite interesting one. It's a system which basically, we call it the Nespressos for pets. Okay, so basically, it's a machine where you put some dehydrated food, and well, the machine do the work, and at the end you have you have a bowl with pet food. Okay, and it seems a quite interesting model, and we are exploring how far can it goes, and then we will decide if we are a supplier or not, or we let them grow. Mm-hmm. That's one, and the other one, which is even more interesting as well, is a software company, so completely outside of our business, but it's a software company that helps vets, clinics to manage the whole vet in a more seamless and efficient way, and I think it's a really nice as well a way of impacting in our business, even not directly, but in a more collateral thing.
Yeah, great.
We have a good experience so far.
Yeah. What about you, Victor?
Okay, we have 2 internal cases in the group. We have the first case is a company, a startup focused in IoT sector. The brand is IoT Sense, and they start to solve an internal problem with the water metering. But now they are working with in a lot of sectors different to the water, and with a lot of customers out of the externals to our group, and they are working very good. And I think that is a good example to success case. And the second case is a new business line. To create it the last year, focus on CFDs to simulate the movement of liquids and air. And they're starting now. They are working very hard to growth and to position in the market. And we hope that in the they will have a good future. And related to the corporates program with Lanzadera, we just started now, and we haven't any close experience with startups from Lanzadera, but we are starting. We are looking for a lot of points to interest, and during this time we have to keep contact with a lot of startups, and we think that there is a common thing. No? All entrepreneurs want to have an important position in the startups because they don't lose the control and the motivation, because we think that the entrepreneurs have to feel that the project is still yours. No? But for me, it's very important to the project continues.
Okay, thank you. You're all big corporation, and I'm sure it's not easy to work with startups, and you have to overcome so many challenges inside challenges. Manu, can you explain a little bit?
I think that's the question. So there's a lot of people. So all the big fours are trying to develop the way of developing the right corporate venture firm. So my opinion is that the best thing of working with, or the best way, or the best thing of working with startups is that they are really startups. And at the same time, the worst thing of working with a startup is that they are already startups. So you mean that they are agile, they have no structure, so they can do things easily. There's some kind of flow there. But at the same time, they do not have the expertise to survive. They do not have maybe the right skills. They do not somehow have the processes set. So that's something that they need, or we need to balance with them. From a pure corporate point of view, so I'm trying to convince my board that the objective of this is not that the startups becomes more like us, is that we get more like them. So it's not easy, but that's the future. So I was, well, in China, I think it was like 2 or 3 months ago, and I had the opportunity to attend to a class there. And one of the things that I learned there is that, so it was 2 ways of structuring the company. One way is that if you have a clear view, if you have a clear strategy, if you have something in mind that is going to happen for sure in the future, so you need to have the right structure. It's everything very hierarchic. But the future it's very uncertain, so you need to build what is called a very agile organization, a startup organization. And I think that all around the world, the future right now, it's not very clear. It's really unclear. So we need to think in the way the startups are doing things for the corporate rather than the other way around.
What about you, Nichan? Do you have this kind of challenge in Mercadona?
Yes, as Manuel says, for me, there is one big challenge, is culture. We have to change culture. We have to change the way we work. A lot of hierarchy, a lot of bureaucracy. For me, is the main. If you change the culture or adapt the culture, it's very easy to start working with startups. So for me, is the main.
How can you change this culture? Do you have any clue or something to share with the audience?
We have started a project to change this, this culture, but we have started. We are a long
We need time. No?
Yes, there's a lot of people waiting for that answer, so if you know that, you can make a lot of money over that.
Yes.
I seen someone with the pen.
Yeah.
I will tell the
Right,
story.
But I don't think it's not only about the culture, which I think that I'm a bit skeptical on changing the culture of a company, because the culture of a company is made of many, many different things. It's made of its values, it's made of its heritage, it's made of many, many things. So I'm not saying that we need to change the culture. I think more than changing the culture, I think what we need to change is the mindset. Okay, which is slightly different. In my
What's the difference between the mindset and the culture?
Is something it remains. It's part of the DNA of a company. Okay, Mercadona should have its own culture. Nestle has its own culture. I'm sure FACSA and Rivera Salud, they have their own culture. But I think it's part of the added value of the company, and we try to put that culture into our products, into our organization, whatever. I think what we need to do is to change the mindset and accept, for instance, the failure as a part of our making decision process. Not to be afraid of making mistakes and put more focus on learnings rather than on perfection. And I think that probably that mindset and the big corporation would tend, just because they are corporations, but let's be clear, all the startups today in the future will become corporations as well, so they will have the bureaucracy, they will have the process, they will have everything that we are suffering today. But probably what they have is the mindset of trying new things and not being, scrutinized because you did it wrong. Okay, and I think this is what we need to change. And as long as we are getting the new generations coming into the workforce and also senior management starting to see that in a different way, I think we could catch up on that.
What's the difference between the mindset and the culture?
I can give you an example. So in our culture, we say that we are agile.
Okay.
But the mindset is that we have 10 processes or 10 whatever to do something. So that's the difference.
Okay.
So culture is something that you born with that, so it's the way the things are done in the company, but the mindset is actually all the processes and all the systems that are really set in place.
Okay. I'm going to ask the same question. Do you have any clue for you, sorry, to change the mindset of the company? Do you have any advice?
Well, I have to be very honest on this. I think we are changing the mindset of our company. But I have to say that the mindset is changing because the senior management is changing.
Okay.
That's the tricky thing. Most of the changes are coming from top to down, and so it's essential that happening. It's essential that you have someone, a thoughtful leader at the top that sees things differently. And I have to say that now in Nestle and in Purina, we are already changing that mindset, and we are trying new things. And if we made a mistake, we made a mistake. And we try completely different new stuff. For instance, I was discussing this morning with you about Nespresso. Nespresso is a clear example of a startup within a big corporation. It took us years to be Nespresso as it is today, but was completely disruptive way of drinking coffee. So that means that this we need really to embrace that change, and it's part of the leadership style, I guess. Well, I think.
I completely agree. We need the top management.
Well, we need the top management to do so, but also it's not. I mean, we need the top management to act, but we cannot leave all the responsibilities to them. I see that the whole organization should start to do that. In my view, I can be very, very pro innovation and so on. But if my team doesn't follow me, okay, what's going to change? I'm going to change nothing. So we need really to make that all the organization and every people lives that value. That's why I think this corporate program we are now with you, and working with the startup is because we are putting our people to work with a startup. Yeah. And that's part of one of the things we are doing to really make this mindset come along more often.
That's a really good point, because we are working with 2 startups with Nestle Purina, and we are not working only with Xavi and Mark. Hello, Mark. We are working with a big team. There are around 13
people.
15 people.
From all the organization, all levels.
Yeah. Working with the startups, and I think it's a really good way to do things in order to change this kind of mindset or culture.
Yeah, culture mindset. But it will take time anyway, but...
yeah, sure.
Little by little, step by
step. What about you, Victor?
I agree, of course, with all of them, but I think that one of the most challenges is change the mentality in this way. The way to thinking, the way that the big corporations thinks. And for example, the last year, we did an entrepreneurship project for employees to share their business ideas or startups where to invest, giving the opportunity to the employees to participate in the development of their business ideas, or at the end participate in the future business. No? And we think that it was interesting, very interesting project, because we done the opportunity to the people to feel entrepreneur, and this in the big corporation is very difficult to.
How many entrepreneurs do you have in FACSA?
It's a good question. In the numbers, 231.
231.
Yeah, who's the people who participate in this program? In the really, I don't know. In the future, we will see.
At least 231.
Yes.
Not bad.
Yes.
Not bad.
With 185 business ideas, real business ideas, yeah, in 2 months. And yes, it was.
Are you running this kind of business idea?
We are working now to develop the winner ideas first. 3 business ideas, and we are working now in this. Yeah, and another challenge for me is how integrate the startups into the company's structure, because in my opinion, we need to do a very good analysis to define exactly what key aspects we have to integrate, and other aspects that is better keep independent to the corporation structure. Yeah. Because the big corporation can rest agility, flexibility, impose its bureaucracy, and this for the startups is a very big problem.
You need to find where are the synergies, basically, but leave them alone. Yeah. Otherwise.
Yeah.
How does Lanzadera contribute in this relationship with the startups? Let's start with you, man. What can I do?
Yes, so I was going to ask this question to you and to them, so I'm going to just pass this question or reword the question, saying, from your perspective that you have some experience working with startups, and we are quite new here, any kind of advice to us? The key advice.
No, I mean, open your mind. I mean, forget your mental barriers, and forget that, as I said before, I mean, we are now mentoring a startup that we know that if that startup succeeds, they will become our competitor. And so we can have a mentality of not sharing information or not disclosing whatever thing. Of course, we cannot disclose our strategy fullest, but to which point? We don't mind. So that's one thing: open mind and forget your barriers. And second, I think it's important. Let's all the organization live the startup, the collaboration. It's not keep it for you, because then you will be seen as as the fool in the hill, okay, with the startup, and the rest of the organization wouldn't follow you, and that basically that, and accept from day one, and I would say to set lowest expectation, okay, because big corporations and they're doing this, we're investing money, okay, where's the payback of that? No, there's no payback. There's we are investing for something that will happen in the future. So, so set the expectation to senior management that, okay, this is not a typical thing that will get return of investment soon. It's something that you need to live it and keep it, and we'll see. Passion.
We say we are not the innovation department for all these companies. We are only eyes outside the company, just to look, to know what is in this field, in this sector. And what can we do for you, Manu?
So, well,
once again.
So yeah, the question has come back. So, well, I really are enjoying not the result of this trip, but the process of this trip, because it also allow us to think in ourselves in a very different way. And being part of something bigger than ourselves, and creating like the right ecosystem. So that's one of the things I expect from you. The other is that guide us and tell us especially what not to do. The other things I think that we can manage with that right now. And I think that the both things of creating the right network, environment, eco for us, and then guide us a little bit within that.
Okay, thank you. We have 2 minutes, and I would like, if anyone in the crowd has any question for our guests, now is the moment. Yeah.
Yeah. What's your timing cycle to innovate? How long does it take from the idea to the solution on the street?
It's going to be...
So for me?
For the 2 days.
So, long story short, it depends. So usually we use sprints, agile, so it can take 2 weeks. It can take, the average is about 1.5 months, especially for software and for new processes. But the partnering we are doing with them, it's about 6 or 1 year. So it depends.
Now, we are not working with startups, and our cycles are very long cycles. We would develop our software internally, and maybe months, even years. So our cycles are very long cycles.
In our case, we are manufacturing, so we have some certain constraints. Some industrial constraints that made us take a long time to develop things. So yeah, probably from the idea to launch, maybe depends on the innovation, because there are certain levels of innovation. Disruptive innovations, things that are really crazy, can take us a lot of time, but typical innovation, a new formula, whatever, maybe from 1 to 2 years.
Yes, for us, we are a technology company, because in the water there are a lot of technology, and between idea to the technology developed, could be pass perfectly 2, 3, or 4 years, or I don't know, but it's a long time. Yeah, because you need invest a lot of time to test the technology. First imagine, and then test, and then product this industrial technology and out to the market.
But we are short in the times now, regarding to your question. We are now accepting to be 80% right before going out to the marketplace. It is, indeed. And then improving on the go.
We have to finish. I would like to thank all of you for all your contribution. And also, there is another question? Can we have? Yeah, please.
Just one question regarding time dedicated for innovation for your employees. How are you managing between innovation and business as usual? Because it's more on top of what they are doing usually. So how are you managing that in terms of people?
In Mercadona, we are taking people out of business and dedicated only for innovation. We have maybe 100 persons now only dedicated for innovation. Taken from the business and to do innovation only.
Well, in my case, yeah, we have the typical innovation department working by themselves. But I think innovation, we tend to think that innovation is only about product. It's not, honestly. And in my case, in my team here in Spain, innovation is part of our day-to-day basis. It's funny because I tell my team most of the time that you need to cluster your budget, to divide your budget in 3 buckets. Okay, your time and resources, 70% of your time and resources doing your usual thing, 20% trying new things, and 10% trying crazy things. Okay, so it's 100. I'm not asking that 150. Okay, it's difficult then to say, okay, but if they are open to come to me and say, look, I have this crazy idea, I have this money, can I try? Go. That's the mindset I said before. We need to embed this as our day-to-day basis. If not, it was always the guys over there, and we're just executing what they tell us. I mean, you can innovate in many things, in process, in the way you communicate, in the way you promote your products even. So it's not only, we think about innovation, we think only about, okay, new product.
Okay, we have to finish.
It's done.
I'm sure there are more questions. We are located in the stand number 22. So if you want more information about Lanzadera Corporate or any other corporate, please come with us. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.